Kathy Hochul says that New York is exploring every option to redraw our state congressional lines to counteract Texas's new map. New York Governor Kathy Hochul hosted Texas Democrat lawmakers at the state capitol on Wednesday after the lawmakers fled their state in order to deny Republican lawmakers the quorum needed to pass a redistricting proposal. During her speech, Hochul said that she and other New York lawmakers were exploring options to conduct redistricting in the state to counteract redistricting in Texas. I have a news flash for Republicans in Texas. This is no longer the Wild West. We're not going to tolerate our democracy being stolen in a modern-day stagecoach heist by a bunch of law-breaking cowboys. She's just laying it on thick there. Americans don't want a system that's stacked against them. They believe in fairness. It's fundamental. And I'll tell you this, they're done with the chaos. They're done with the cruelty. And I would say they're ready to vote Republicans out of power in Washington, certainly in the upcoming 2026 elections. Are you sure about that, Kat?
Circle the wagon.
I know. I'm surprised she didn't go there.
It's funny because up until she says to vote out Republicans, it sounds like she's describing the Trump base, right? Yeah. I mean, it actually exactly describes like what happened and why Trump came into power in the first place. Because people do feel like they're disenfranchised. People do feel like they're not being listened to. And that's exactly why this is the way that it is.
And this lady's a psychopath.
Let's see what she...
Like, I fled New York as she was in a church saying, we need you to be our apostles for the vaccines.
Flash for Republicans.
Let's see what she has to say here.
Face.
Jeez.
Now I have news flash for Republicans in Texas. This is no longer the Wild West. We're not going to tolerate our democracy being stolen in a modern-day stagecoach heist by a bunch of law-breaking cowboys.
Yeah,
Making it sound awesome.
Americans don't want a system that's stacked against them.
She didn't write
They believe in fairness. It's fundamental.
No, we don't. It's
I'll
America.
tell you this, they're done with the chaos. They're done with the cruelty. And I would say they're ready to vote Republicans out of power in Washington, certainly in the upcoming 2026 elections.
All right, so this
Republicans
is
know
4
this.
minutes long.
They've seen the poll.
You get the...
They made her in the same laboratory they made Pelosi. It's just like a newer version. I never realized that they looked so witchy similar.
She's
Americans
like
care about-
Westworld. She's just like the newer model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do this thing where they have like a LARP like their working class. So the speechwriter is like so obnoxious, like, oh yeah, this is how people talk like out in the country. And it's like the worst. And then it's worse. The worst is on the Republican side when they make all the guys try to emulate Trump, like they did with DeSantis. Is they would like because Trump, he'd say like I'm gonna rough him up, and everyone's like yeah, and then they had DeSantis come out and they're like we're gonna slit their throats. And I was like, whoa, dude, like, what is wrong with you? And the same thing. You're like they're a bunch of swashbuckling cowboys.
Careful with the
Like
edge.
yeah, that sounds sick.
She talks about engines in the next
We're gonna scalp them. Whoa, geez. Cowboys and Indians. But
The only person who can pull this off is Trump, though. Nobody can exactly explain why. It's like, why is Ricky Gervais the only person who can make AIDS jokes work? Like,
Literally.
nobody knows. But it's the same thing. Like, only Trump can talk like this. Everybody else sounds masochistic and terrifying.
creepy. And then she's like, yeah, Americans care about fairness. I'm like, are you new here? This is a country of temporarily embarrassed millionaires. I will switch up on everyone if it means $1 million. Are you kidding me? Fairness? Get out of here.
I mean, that's the argument that I make all the time. Like Americans care about like kitchen table issues. They care about, can I pay my bills? Can I afford to get my kids into the school that I wanted to go in? Like everybody cares about their wallet, and everything else that they say they care about is tertiary to their wallet. Even now, with Gen X being, favorable to socialist policies, they're not favorable to actual communism because they don't conceptualize actual communism. They think I'm going to get free stuff, and that's good because I can't afford to pay my bills. If the average Gen Z person had $100,000 in the bank now, they wouldn't feel that way, right? Like they wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm favorable to, confiscatory tax policy, because they'd be like, that's going to take my stuff. And so the idea that it's somehow baked into young people to actually want a socialist president or socialist policies. No, they want to be able to pay their bills. They want to feel like they can afford to live. They want to be able to pay their rent. And now, because of the past 15 years since the economic crisis, because of the way that the federal government and the Federal Reserve has been handling monetary policy, because of those things, it's coming down on Gen Z. Like they're the ones that are paying for it. And it's something that, again, I'm a reformed libertarian, but like back in the day, I was the guy that was screaming about this is going to come back to bite America in the ass. This is going to be a massive problem. And now it is.
I think the younger crowd subconsciously embraces capitalism while trying to embrace a false idea of socialism, communism, you know, because they're out there protesting with all their technology that they can afford and do the things they think they can do at home, like their poetry books, but they don't understand the end game.
No.
For socialism, communism, feeding off of them, owning them, you know, turning them into slaves. They see this false idea of a paradise that they've been lied to about.
I agree with you, and I think that I mean a lot of it is a lack of understanding and a lack of just intellect about what capitalism, what socialism is, what Marxism is. But more than that, they're kind of conditioned to be comfortable. And I've heard you guys talk about this on the show for weeks now. There's just a lack of interest in bettering yourself. So this idea of getting free stuff is just kind of like tacking on to the fact that I can live on the bare minimum, whatever that is, and I'll just take whatever is free and I'll learn to live with it. I'll learn to live with 16 dudes and I'll just never have kids and I'll never save any money and that's fine with me. And there's this mentality, and I don't even think it's limited to Gen Z or Gen Alpha. I mean, I think that there's people in my age group who are suffering through this too. So I'm not really sure what the solution is, but they have them, like people like Hochul have them right where they want them.
Yeah.
They're ready for the free stuff without actually putting too much thought into what it means.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time people don't associate the free stuff with all of the strings that are attached. But nothing that comes from the government comes without strings. And you can actually see it the way that the government treats the federal government treats the states, right? So you get states that have all this, federal money for, say, roads, right? For interstate systems. Well, to get that money, you have to do things that whatever administration is in power says. And there's the generalized ones, like you have to have your alcohol sales, the age limit has to be 21. It can't be lower. And if you lower it, the federal government will stop giving you money for roads, right? Like that was the way that they got nationwide 21 is the age for the drinking age, right? But there's other things that depend on who the actual president is. And Donald Trump is doing this all the time. Whether or not you like these policies or whatever, Donald Trump adds strings to federal funding all the time. So the idea that you get anything for free it's a mirage. There's always strings attached, and the government's always going to be like, you have to do this if you want to get this. So
in fact, the Treasury Department right now accepts PayPal and Venmo. If anyone has any extra cash for some reason that you want to help with the national debt, send it their way. I'm sure you don't need it.
That's actually kind of base. I'm gonna do that. Get a head start on my taxes.
You never get anything you don't ask for.
I'll go towards that.
That's not a head start on your taxes. This is just a gift to the government.
Oh yeah, I love the government.
Well, no, tax deductible.
I think with Zoomers, it's just because like I'm a Zoomer, we're just so nihilistic about like how broken everything is that it's like you kind of have to have like a radical ideology. It's like being a moderate. It's like so like gay.
It's boomer coded.
Well, it's like it's boomer coded, and it's like so you're like hanging out with like other Zoomers, and you're like, oh, you're like a paleo Marxist Leninist. Oh, I'm like a radical like monarchist, dude. Like, tell me more about your thing. Like, what's your radical ideology? But we're all on lists. That's the problem.
It's all the Zoomer waffen.
Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah,
honestly,
we're all on lists now.
I think we're all just waiting for like the political flags, right? So like we can like add ourselves to like stripes and letters and yeah.
I mean, the problem with the demand for radical politics is there's real world consequences that honestly they don't
boring.
This is boring like that they don't think about, right? Like there's it's not like radical politics are actually new. There's no radical politics. There's old politics that are radical now that people are talking about, which is whether it be the again the Zoomer waffen or whether you're talking about the actual communists, the Marxist Leninists and stuff. That's radical, but it's not new. It's stuff that's been tried before and hasn't produced positive results before.
And a whole a few generations learned during the Summer of Love that violence and burning down cities does have results
works, yeah.
in their favor.
Yeah.
You know, and like former vice president could donate money for your bail.
Does it actually work in their favor? Did those people
maybe temporarily?
Because I don't think I would say that they didn't get anything actually beneficial out of it. Maybe they didn't have to go to jail and pay like the price that you'd expect for being violent.
You mean personally they got anything, or societally?
Either.
Because I feel like their society for a bit of time bent over for them.
They also
corporations did, like everyone.
So they got a sugar high.
Yeah. Like I don't think there was a longevity to it, but they got what they wanted, but it didn't last.
I think there was longevity. I think they had, from their perspective, they advanced the football because they pushed the Democrat Party in a more radical way. I mean, okay, yeah, society reeled back with the Trump election, but the Democrat Party's forever changed because of 2020.
Yeah, I mean, all the politicians. I mean, we had politicians crying at George Floyd's funeral with his gold casket. We had the NBA doing their thing for it. Like everyone kind of bent over.
Didn't go anywhere either. Like the Democrat Party, that is still, if anything, the base is actually mad that they're not radical enough.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.